again, and welcome back to the Red Zone, your home for all things North Central College football and more. Coming up on today's show, we're talking about another big win, 62-7 for the Cardinals over the Carroll University Pioneers. I'm joined as always by head coach Jeff Thorne and two of the impact players from that victory, quarterback Luke Lehnen and defensive end Jamauri Spivery. Plus, the football team isn't the only one on a winning streak, as Cardinals men's soccer are 13 games unbeaten to begin their season, so we'll be hearing from them on this week's Cardinal Corner. But first, let's take a look at some of the highlights from Saturday up in Waukesha, Wisconsin. For their second road trip of the season, the North Central College Cardinals football team traveled to Waukesha, Wisconsin and Carroll University for a CCIW clash, looking to move to 4-0 and maintain their number one ranking. The Pioneers, who the Cardinals defeated 62-3 back in 2019, entered the game 2-1, hoping to spring a surprise. They did get off to an ideal start, capping off their opening drive with this touchdown pass from Michael Johnson to J.R. Muff to give Carroll a 7-0 lead. The Cardinals hit the ground running as soon as they got the ball, beginning with this great kick return by Justin Lynch to set up the offense with great starting field position. The offense made sure Lynch's run back was worth the effort as Ethan Greenfield trotted into the end zone from 12 yards to tie the game and kick off what would be another big game for the Cardinals' main running back. On North Central's next drive, facing a third down, freshman quarterback Luke Lehnen takes off to pick up a big first down. And from there, he did the rest himself as he fools the Pioneers' defensive front and turns on the afterburners for a 39-yard touchdown run to put the Cardinals where they wanted to be, in the lead. The defense recorded 5 sacks in the game, the first one here courtesy of a combination of Ben Wong and Sam Taviani to drop Johnson and help stop yet another Pioneers drive. With the ball back, the offense immediately went back to work, and Lehnen finished off a 5-play drive with his touchdown pass to Andrew Kaminsky, who goes down to make a great grab and extend the Cardinals' lead. On the next Carroll possession, Dan Gilroy leaves Gavin Morowitz in the dust for a free run to the quarterback and another sack for North Central. Later in the drive, Carroll go for it on 4th down, but Johnson's pass is broken up by Braden Lindmark, and the Cardinals take over on downs. 9 plays later, and the turnover becomes points on this touchdown toss from Lehnen to Matt Robinson, 28-7 Cardinals. Even when the Pioneers looked like they might make a stop, they never really got close. Lehnen sprinting away here from Carroll defenders for his second rushing touchdown to make it 34-7 at halftime. Second half now, and the defense did not let up at all as Gilroy and Jamauri Spivery combined for a sack. By now you know the drill, it's another touchdown and another second rushing touchdown, this time for Greenfield. After that though, it was time to share the rock. Here's Terrence Hill taking the handoff and going up the middle for 9 yards and 6 more points. He has shined as Greenfield's top deputy so far this season. 5 different Cardinals had rushing touchdowns. A group that laid on was joined first by Joe Sacco with a 20-yard score, and then by Darius Bird to take the Cardinals over 60 points. Another win in blowout fashion for the North Central Cardinals, 62-7 over Carroll. Business as usual for the Cardinals, and in between 2 trips up to Wisconsin, I'm joined, as I am every week, by head coach Jeff Thorne. Coach, thanks as always for taking the time.
Thank you, Alex.
So I want to start with the defense, and obviously, 2 instances, something repeats, 3 is a pattern. We've seen the last 3 weeks. After the first quarter, the defense is totally locking things down. 3 straight games where the team on the other side doesn't put up any points in the final 3 frames.
Yeah.
What's being said on the sideline? What are you seeing in terms of like a change from your players to explain what we're seeing with, maybe the other team gets some points early, but then, man, the last 75%, it is nothing but shutdown defense for you guys.
Yeah, early in games, teams have opportunities to prepare game week and put some things together, and each team we've played has had a nice plan to attack what they've seen on film. Coach Sturking and Coach Janisek on our defensive staff have done a great job of adjusting, in-game adjustments to make sure that we can slow down what another team has seen on film that was successful for them early in the game. And, our guys have done a nice job of adjusting as well. Would like to see us come out this week and be able to slam the door early. But, giving up 7 points what's that, 3 times now and 6 points the other one. It's pretty good defense that we're playing.
Absolutely. Then on the other side of the ball, particularly in the trenches, they don't get the headlines, but the offensive line has played well all season. But I thought in this game against Carroll is where it was most apparent how successful they've been, and just the way every play seemed like they were pushing the defense straight back. What's the thing or the things that have, about their overall performance, what are the pieces of that have really impressed you the most? Is it someone like freshman Jeske Maples stepping up from 1A ball to really, being immediately ready for this level? What kind of are the points that you've taken from 4 weeks of really consistent, great offensive line play?
Yeah, Jeske's unique in that he kind of had a redshirt year, with COVID. He was able to come in January and got spring ball with us. Sam Pryor's a true freshman, so Sam's adjustment has been immediate. And certainly when you've got a returning center in Gerard Thornton that played an entire season in our championship season as our starting center, and then he gets a redshirt year, and then next to him you've got the multiple All-American in Sharmar Clark, and at left tackle we've got a 3-year starter. So we've got a lot of experience from the center left.
Right.
And what Sam and Jeske have been able to do on the right side has really been impressive, encouraging, certainly bright spot for our future as well. But thrilled with the way our offensive line is playing. And I want to highlight our second unit that came in.
Right.
And in the fourth quarter, we put together, I think, a 90-yard and an 80-plus yard drive for touchdowns, largely on the ground. Second unit of running backs came in, our young guys. These are freshmen, Justin Lynch, and did a great job. And so we're excited about where we go from here and our offensive line play. I told you last week, none of these offensive numbers happen without great offensive line play, and they're doing a great job.
Absolutely. When you see 5 different players scoring rushing touchdowns, that speaks very highly of no matter who's carrying the ball and no matter who's blocking for them, good things are happening. So, offensive players have told me they want to score 60 points every week. The defense says they want to shut out. Beyond, stats and piling up touchdowns and all of that, what are you hoping that your players are gaining out of games like the last couple ones, whether it's how they're growing as players? What are the intangible things that you hope these kinds of wins are producing, not just highlight reel stats for seemingly everyone on the roster?
You know what, it's just about, we talk about the relentless pursuit of excellence, and excellence doesn't have a finish line. You're constantly pursuing what else is out there, what more can we achieve. And we talk about really the opponent every week is not necessarily the opponent in a different colored jersey than us. It's us. How long can we continue to play at a really high standard? And that's that standard is internal within our buildings, within the walls of our building, and it's the things that we talk about as a group. That's more important than what we hear on the outside. But our guys have done a great job of really holding themselves and adhering themselves to the standard that is expected of them.
Right. And then last, before I let you go, I do want to talk about a different football team that I know you're paying a lot of attention to right now. So for years, your Saturdays have been, you were the coach of North Central. You've had a lot of success there.
Yeah.
But this season, your son Peyton is the starting quarterback up at Michigan State. Yeah. Just set a career high in passing yards this past weekend, I think 327 in the game. Yeah. How have Saturdays this fall been different for you? You're not just a coach on Saturdays anymore. You're a parent and a fan on Saturdays now, too.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been interesting. The Miami weekend, my wife and my oldest daughter were down in Miami, and my youngest daughter was in St. Louis for a soccer tournament. So, we're playing Wheaton that night. I'm in my living room by myself, watching Michigan State and jumping around like a lunatic and running around my kitchen. So it's been a lot of fun to watch him and watch Michigan State have the season that they're having. Coach Tucker and his staff are doing an amazing job. So we're excited to see where it goes from here.
It is that time of week again. Let's check the tape. Coach Thorne and I are going to take a look back at some highlights from the game against Carroll, some of the biggest plays. And Coach, we're going to start here with Luke Lehnen, the quarterback, showing his speed. He said to me after the game that he saw how hard the defensive end bit on this, and then it was just daylight for him after that.
Yeah, and that's his read and the progression on this play. And our tight end, Matt Robinson, did a really good job of engaging the corner and slowing him down enough that Luke could get all the way to the corner. And once he does, it's trouble for defenses because he can really go. He's very fast.
So for the rest to check the tape today, speaking of speed, want to turn things over to the defense. And Dan Gilroy is a player who showed a lot of speed on one of the 5 sacks you guys recorded this weekend. He just goes right around the left tackle, leaves him in the dust, and the quarterback's on the ground before he knows what's hit him.
Yeah, Dan's done a great job. His offseason was really impressive, putting about 20 pounds of muscle on and becoming even more athletic. He's developed some really quality rush moves. He's got a spin move that we've seen in a few games, and he's added some other things to his repertoire. So he's awfully hard to handle, plays with extremely low pad level, and has done a great job of pressuring the quarterback this year, and he happened to get home on that one.
And then if there had to be, one defensive star of the game from a very good defensive performance, we're going to talk to him in a minute. Jamauri Spivery comes up with 2.5 sacks from the day. We're going to look at a couple of them here. He's a guy who played just one game for you in 2019, and now he's a star of this defensive line. What have you seen not only in this game and this great performance, but from him this season really stepping up in the role he has?
Yeah, Jamari's an amazing young man. I mean, you're going to get a chance to talk to him here in a minute, but he got hurt in 2019, pretty serious injury. So for him to even be back with us is amazing. But his story is just so unique. He works pretty much a full-time job at Chipotle and has done so well. He's managing the store, and he's got future opportunities with him, all while he's also going to school, maintaining a full class load, getting good grades. He ran track, and I think ran a 10.600 for our track team. So you're gonna be talking to an incredible young man, and to see what he did on Saturday and what's to come is, I think, what's most exciting out of Jamauri.
Here's to another weekend of multiple wins in the Thorne household. Coach,
right.
Thanks as always for the time.
Thanks, Alex.
Opportunity is everywhere. It is in everything and within everyone. Your opportunity is at the center of all that we do, so that you can exceed your personal best.
Welcome back to the Red Zone, where it's time to sit down with a couple stars of this week's win. Freshman quarterback Luke Lehnen threw for 239 yards, ran for 107 more, and had 4 total touchdowns. While on the other side of the ball, senior defensive end Jamauri Spivery had 2.5 sacks. Guys, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking the time to come on.
Thanks for inviting us. Thank you.
So, Luke, I want to start with you. Last week we saw you run for a touchdown for the first time, that option play to Ethan. We saw on Check the Tape this week, you reading the defensive end and taking off. Do you feel like week on week, you're becoming more and more comfortable with using your speed as a weapon in the offense?
Yeah, I'd say I'm becoming a lot more comfortable. After that Wheaton game, when I was in the open field, I was kind of stumbling a bit and hadn't been used to running the open field as much because it had been so long since we played. But as we've been going, I've been feeling a lot more comfortable in the open field.
Jamauri, I mentioned to Coach that the offensive line was really obvious watching every play how much they pushed back the defense. You guys were doing the same thing on the defensive line. I know your guys' mantra is party at the quarterback. What made you guys so successful at celebrating on Saturday afternoon?
I think it's just the commitment to and paying attention to detail. All week we paid attention to tendencies and knowing how to utilize every aspect of our defense, and we capitalize on that. And when you start to be disciplined and execute, have fun.
So, like I said, we saw the team dominate on the trenches on both sides of the ball. What does that do for each of you? Luke, obviously, is a quarterback. It opens up the running holes, which opens the passing game, gives you more time as a passer. Jamauri, obviously, on the other side, they can't pick just one of you when you've got you and Dan and Ben all crashing in there. When you guys are dominating the front like that on both sides of the ball, how much easier does that make everything else in the game plan?
It makes everything's so easy. I mean, when you have from left tackle to right tackle doing their job, pushing the defense back 10 yards each play, playing 6-second football, which is what we do, just makes everything easy. Makes it easy for me to just stand in the pocket and deliver the ball where it needs to go, and makes it easy for our running backs to get huge gains like they do.
And I think for the defensive side, it's just when you have everyone collectively doing their all 111, which is what we call it, everyone doing their single job, it makes it so much easier for that one person to be able to contribute, because they can't pick who to guard. They don't know what's coming. They don't know who's coming or whatsoever. So it just opens up a lot of things, a lot of possibilities we can do with our defense when we all just on one accord.
Jamauri, Coach mentioned in our chat that, you got injured in 2019, only played the one game. You're managing a lot of stuff on, outside of football. You're running track, and you're having this great season so far through 4 games. What has the last 2 years been like for you as a journey to be where you are right now and the success you're having on the field?
It's been a tough one, but it's been rewarding. In 2019, I suffered one of the most scariest injuries of my life, and being able to fight back and come back, and it's been something inspiring for me and for people around me. I always wanted to use my story as a motivation for others, and this journey for the past 2 years has been amazing because I know when I look back at it, I've done all I could to succeed. So it's kind of like a success thing for me right now.
Absolutely. Luke, you've had a bit of a journey to becoming a freshman starting quarterback here, because not in the traditional sense. You had a full year to get to know your offensive linemen, to get to know your skill guys, to learn the playbook. How important has that been to you? I think I've asked you this kind of off camera, but would love to hear you talk about, how valuable the last year has been, not only for your success, but for your offense's success as a group.
It was very valuable being able to come in, and we got to practice a little bit in the fall together, get to know all the guys, really learn the offense, and then get to have the full spring season. That also really benefited me to get me more comfortable in the system, get to know the guys, know how these guys run certain routes compared to these guys. And then over the summer we had 7-on-7s, so just working more with the pass game with the receivers on that. We've really built up a good chemistry, and it's working out so far this year.
So just kind of real briefly, goals going forward for the rest of the season. I've heard offense wants 60 points every week. Defense wants a shutout every week. Beyond that, what do you guys hope to gain? Beyond hitting scoring 5 touchdowns, 2.5 sacks. Real briefly, what do you guys hope to gain out of the rest of the regular season?
I hope to gain just to be more disciplined in the little things, like, I might make a good throw, but was it the right read? Or after I hand the ball off, am I carrying out my fake and doing my job to keep defenders locked on me instead of our running backs? So just little things like that, just to keep improving those week by week.
For me, it's just to expand my game-wise, where I'm not just a speed rusher. I can, fit more into the run game. I could be more expandable throughout the whole defense for my defense, So just be like a Swiss Army knife as much as I can.
So guys, as we do every week in the Players segment, we're going to end with some quick hits, some fun questions, get away from the field, stop talking football. So the first one this week is, you are stranded on a desert island. You can bring one thing with you that's not food or water. What are you bringing?
Well, I'd like to bring my Xbox, but that's not going to work on a deserted island. So I'd probably just bring like a football or a soccer ball or something so I can kick it around to myself. I don't know. I'd be pretty bored though.
I keep a journal. I like to write, so I'll probably just document a lot of things that I see on this island, different things I discover. So that would be mine.
Nice. That's actually a really good answer. I like that. Next one is first ever concert you saw. I don't care if it was the smallest venue in the world, if it's someone I've never heard of. First concert you ever went to?
First concert I went to was Dan and Shay at the Illinois State Fair with my girlfriend and a few friends. So.
Well, Michael Jackson, one of his last tours.
No way.
One of his last tours before he passed away.
How old were you?
Man.
Because I was young when he passed away.
I was about 14-ish, yeah.
That's crazy. That's incredible. Okay, and the last one, and there's a caveat to this question because of both you guys. If you weren't playing football or baseball or running track, what sport would you be playing that you were not a college athlete in?
I would love to play volleyball. My sisters play volleyball, and just watching them, and it seems like so much fun. I love watching the U.S. men's team highlights on YouTube, and it would just be so fun to play volleyball.
Mine would be boxing. Boxing was like one of my first sports I've ever even got into as a child. So to go back to that, if I wasn't playing football or running track, that'd be something sweet for me.
Well, if you guys can find time in your crazy schedules to add another sport, hey, who knows? Well, guys, thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate it. And best of luck back up in Wisconsin this weekend, taking on Carthage.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay in the know at home or on the go with NCTV 17 News Update. This quick recap of everything happening in and around town will be delivered straight to your email inbox for free. Sign up today.
Benedetti Worley Stadium has long been the home of a winning football team. But the kind of football you're thinking of aren't the only ones dominating out on the turf. Men's soccer is right there with them, currently 14 games unbeaten to begin their season despite a young and inexperienced roster.
We have 7 underclassmen starting, 4 freshmen and 3 sophomores, and the sophomores haven't played a real game yet, so it's like being freshmen. And then we have no seniors on the team. We have 1 senior who's been hurt, is not playing, so it's a very, very young team, and they're playing like they're very mature.
I think we're pretty good at generating chances because we're fast on the wings. Strikers can finish. Defense is solid. We're good.
It's blown my expectations out, unfortunately. I couldn't imagine us doing this well as my first college season, as I didn't get one as a freshman, so it's very impressive to me.
At first, when I got here, I didn't think it would be this tough, this competitive. It really has been a challenge for me adapting, but I think as a team, as a whole, we're doing a really good job and staying humble.
It's been really exciting. It's been fun being able to chip in on both the offensive and defensive side. As, I don't know, one of the taller guys on the team, it's something I try and do, I don't know, every year, helping in both forms, I guess. Talking out of the back is one of my strong suits. Yeah, just that and directing guys in front of me and trying to be a leader.
The results on the field so far have proven that this is a special group of players. Soccer requires 11 individuals working in tandem, and it's clear that through the entire roster, there is both unity off the field and collective understanding on it.
The chemistry, the family atmosphere that these guys have. I met with all the freshmen, early in the season, and they all expressed a lot of enthusiasm and how they felt welcome right away, and how they felt like their second family away from home here. So that's one of the special traits of this team.
We learn a lot from each other. We got a lot of young guys. Make sure we stay on top of school and make sure we help each other out. So we're always looking out for one another.
I think it's a pretty good thing because we get better each year. Next year we have a better team, better chemistry.
It means everything because our captains do a really good job at introducing every young player. Our team chemistry is very high, and we bring a lot of energy to not only games but also practices.
It's actually like really nice to know that everyone on the team has so many years left, and we can just progress so much more in the coming years.
This young team faced its biggest test of the season last week when they traveled to then number 16 Carthage College and left with a 1-0 win. For the players, they've proved to themselves just what they're capable of.
But we had some other tougher games before. With a bunch of freshmen, such a young team, you never know how they're going to react to adversity. We've had some games where we had to face some adversity and they just went through it very easily. So on Saturday night, we all knew it was a tough game. We all knew it was a special game, but we also knew it was a game like any other game.
It meant a lot because I know how much it means to these captains, and that chemistry is huge. So to do it for them and to do it for ourselves as we compete and keep going on in the season.
I had quite a few friends that I knew from club soccer that played at Carthage, so it was just extra special for me.
The path to a regular season conference title, and possibly more beyond that, is now clear for this group. Their toughest challenge now is to not get ahead of themselves.
I think we just focus on one game at a time, and every time we go to practice, we're like, we got one step, we make a new step today, and do it again tomorrow.
We just try and stay humble, stick true to what we've been doing the whole time, stick to our goals, and just keep trying to achieve them and move forward.
Despite their record, the Cardinals are still struggling for national recognition. But for Enzo Fascino, it's about his players not worrying what anyone else thinks and keeping their focus squarely on their own games.
Hard work, preparation, and as I said before, not taking anything for granted, just earning everything on the field, knowing that nobody's going to give us anything. Dedication, passion, work rate, lots of things. But these guys are a special group. We're just taking one game at a time. We don't take anything for granted, and I'm very pleased with how things are going. So again, winning conference is definitely a goal that's achievable, and hopefully get a postseason berth, which we never got before at the school here for soccer. We've been ranked nationally in D3Soccer.com. We don't get the national recognition in the United Soccer Coaches for some reason, but it doesn't really matter. You know, the only rankings that matter are the ones at the end. So let's wait a couple more weeks and then see what happens.
It's time for this week's Red Zone Play of the Game. We have a bit of a 2-for-1 this week to highlight some praiseworthy tackling by sophomore cornerback Nick Rummel. First, this great open field stop to bring down the Carroll receiver for a loss of 1 yard and set up 3rd and long, and then this huge hit as soon as the running back catches the ball to turn another Pioneers pass into a loss of yardage. Take another look as Rummel times this just right and leads with his shoulder pad with his head up, a textbook tackle. And that was this week's Red Zone Play of the Game. That's it for this edition of the Red Zone. Thanks to Coach Thorne, Luke, and Jamauri. Thanks as well to Coach Enzo Fascino and the men's soccer team. Keep it up, guys. Until next week, I'm Alex Campbell. Thanks for watching.